Hi, everybody. This is Nanette Kennedy with Humanities Team and the Evolution Revolution. And we are reading The Only Thing That Matters by Neale Walsch. And we have Mirko and Bima, yay! Ariana, Mary, Romy, and Linda, our infamous reader. But take it away, Linda.
Okay, I'm going to turn my video off because I feel like we're a little bogged down. And just for curiosity's sake, Fort Collins to San Diego is a 16-hour-and-a-half drive, and it's 1,138 miles. Okay, so we are reading The Only Thing That Matters by Neale Walsch. We're on chapter 28. I'm trying to get my Kindle to come up here. I'm going to have to spend a fair amount of time on the phone with the Apple people this next week, I think. So I am having trouble. I just had it on the screen a minute ago, and now it doesn't want to come back up. Here we go. Hang on. Here we go. I apologize. Oh, for crying out loud.
No
Here we
worries.
go. All right,
Okay.
Here it is. Now, finally. Okay. So we're on chapter 28, which is on page 158. We're about 60% through. And this is Conversations with Humanity, Book 2. So chapter 28, Enlarging the Challenge Voluntarily. What has just been said is that just when you have given what has been asked of you, just when you have reached completion by expressing divinity fully in one moment, the finish line is moved. This is good news. This makes you want to leap out of bed in the morning, a smile on your face, a song in your heart, saying that you just can't wait to get into the day. Well, actually, yes. Okay, now I can't get it to turn the page. I think I need to switch to my iPad. So hang on a quick second, because that'll only take a half a second to load up here.
I have one of the first Kindles made. Mine is so archaic.
Well, this is the app on the computer, but you know, I just don't understand why. Oh my God. And this is saying that my Kindle on my iPad is empty. I have no library.
This is not good.
No, it's not good. I'm gonna I think I'm gonna have to say that maybe Mary can read, because my technology is not
being
cooperative today.
All right.
And I have old school books, so it has no choice. So I'm happy to read.
Thank you.
So let's see. Well, actually, yes. When you are clear about why you are here, where you are going, and how this process called evolution works, then actually, yes, it is good news. Because you remember how incredible you felt when you reached that point of completion in the previous stages of your growth. You remember the warmth, the bliss, the wonderment and excitement, the quiet elation, and gentle inner satisfaction that washed over you in that moment when you expressed fully the love, the understanding, the wisdom and clarity, the compassion and caring, and each of the other aspects of divinity, one at a time or all at once, being placed by you into the life of another and of all others whose lives you touch at the highest level. You remember that feeling, and that is a feeling you want again. That is an experience you wish to repeat. That is the sense of yourself that you have always known as you. It is who you are and how you are when you are at your very, very best, and you want more of that. Life's answer to your wanting more of that is the glory, the wonder, and the joy of reliable repetition. Repeating an experience over and over again in the same way is not what is meant by the word more in this context. You don't merely want more of the same. You want a greater degree of what you experienced before. Think of it this way. When you were small, the toddler's rides at the amusement park were fun for sure. And the kids' roller coaster brought you thrills galore until it didn't anymore. Sooner or later, you wanted to try the Big Dipper. And imagine this, you got on it voluntarily. You watched the others screaming while they were on it. You felt the nervousness in your own stomach as you approached the ticket booth, yet you bought your ticket anyway and you got on it voluntarily. Now that's an analogy, but it's not so very far from what's going on in your life. For it is the nature of life to seek greater and greater expressions and experiences of itself. Still, it really is time for the struggle to be over. A thrilling challenge is one thing, struggle is another. Enough is enough. And so a way has been found for the journey to continue, but for the struggle to be over. Tools have been given to you. One of them is the law of retraction, powered by gratitude. Using this tool takes you to the next stage on your sacred journey. It is the next step to mastery. Mastery is when the challenges become greater, but the struggle disappears. If you have been suffering, it is not because you have been following the path of the soul. It is because you have taken a detour along a trail that led you away from the path, forgetting to remember who you really are, why you are here, and where you were intending to go. The path of the soul does not require or include suffering. The way for the struggle to be over is to stay on the path. Gratitude returns you there. It speeds you in your evolution. It's the fast track. You do not have to expand or grow or evolve at any particular rate, however. You can go through one entire lifetime reacting the same way to the same kinds of events. Many people do. Most people do. Only those who are deeply committed to growth, to their own personal and spiritual evolution, would spend the time and energy on choosing and changing their emotions, shifting from anger or frustration to gratitude, for instance, in order to produce new and grander experiences of themselves. This soul knowing, mastery is when the challenges become greater, but the struggle disappears. This requires a very high level promise to oneself. It entails an acknowledgement that there is something larger going on here, something more than just day-to-day life rolling out randomly. It implies that there is a particular process taking place in a particular way, a sacred process, an eternal process, a process that serves a divine purpose, all of which is described in wonderful detail in chapter 14. Your commitment to this process and this purpose is your own shouting out. It is your own full voice declaration to the world. My life really is about more than just get the guy, get the girl, get the car, get the job, get the house, and get all the stuff everyone else is trying to get. I will not spend my time on the 98% of things that just don't matter. I will not. End of chapter.
Thank you. Does anybody have a comment? Or shall we read on? Fine.
I think it's a very tense chapter.
Why do you say
For
that?
my because I think it's high mastery that the way, how do you say it, at the beginning we talked about the suffering comes when we don't go the way of the soul. I understood it like this.
Oh, yes, if I may say few words, that struggle. I never liked this word, and sometimes my mother told me life is a struggle, how to pronounce struggle, and I don't know, with all my being, I couldn't accept this word, that the life is struggle. I don't like this word struggling. Oh.
I don't like it either.
Yeah, but I mean, is it not both? I mean, sometimes if we are aware, or if we are aware of many, I think I for myself, when I'm aware of things, they have been triggering me for a long time, but now meanwhile I just can say okay, and then I can stop it. I even met two things like that, and then I think I was, how do you say, I was just present enough not to jump into and to say, no, last time there was another way to go and I don't know. It doesn't takes me in. And I think I'm very thankful for this now, because otherwise it would have taken me for whatever. How do you say, the big I always talk about the monkey fight. It's like the big monkey and the monkey mind and all this stuff, they're all together, and then you're just somewhere in reacting and whatever, and forgetting about what's really what. I think these are all signs or symbol, but life likes to teach us, or sometimes also life likes to tease us. Not only to teach us, to tease us, and yeah. And how do you go on with it? Perhaps Mary also?
I was going to say, first of all, Linda, is that you on the phone? Okay.
Yes.
Okay. It's such a struggle to figure out who you were. I was pretty sure it was you, but I wanted to make sure before I started saying something. But I think that learning to, I'm going through a situation right now where my sister had a psychotic break, and she's been on the streets for 30 years. And she's unfortunately gotten into drugs and severe alcoholism. And anyway, she's trying now to get better. But to be on the phone with her is a struggle because she speaks 50,000 miles an hour. It's just, and for me, and I butt in sometimes and I say, stop. And then I find myself in the struggle because she'll say things like, you don't know how much that hurts me when you cut me off like that. And then I'm like, I'm a fish that bit the bait. And it goes back and forth. So but I will say, I'm getting a little better with each phone call. And she calls me 2 or 3 times a day. So I'm getting her workout over. Mirko, you got your hand up?
Yes, my observation on this chapter is that there are 3 parts that for me are most important. The first is at the beginning when Neale say that when we reach the completion, to express divinity in many forms, we move the line forward. It is for me is important because even when you are in the highest moment of your life, you are not really in the highest moment because you are moving forward the highest point. So we never arrive. This is life. The second point for me, most important than the first, is because many people disagree with this affirmation of Neale, but I agree, is that we can choose our emotion. And I think we have said that in one of the past meetings. For me, just a moment that I search the phrase, we can, yes, choosing and changing our emotion. For example, by gratitude, as the book said, and I agree with that. And the third point is for me important is the end when that is the most important fundamental message of the book, that my life is more about get the guy, get the girl, get the car, etc. These are the 3 points that I like the most. I like all this book, really, because even in the past days, I talked with Neale. We were talking about a quote that I found about another important author, American author, who said that, excuse me a moment, say that something like life is fighting for our territory, and if we not fight for what we want, what we don't want come up. We were talking that we are not agree with this affirmation, this statement, because for me, life is not a fighting. Neale says, yes, actually is this, but we propose that, and I like most this quote that I have finished. Life is love of our territory, and we love our territory and our ideas, our way of being human so much that we are willing to use love as a means of inviting, encouraging, and inspiring others, people, to behave in the same way. This is the new statement that we have discussed in the past days. So I would like to speak to Neale about this also, but my conclusion is that life is not a struggle. Life is not. Life is neutral. This is what I want to say. We have to choose what life is. We have to give a meaning to life, not today or tomorrow, but even now, when we are talking, I am choosing to speak with, I think in English, kindness, with calm. My idea, my point of view, you have yours, and I give the meaning to that life. Life is not a fight, and we have not to love as the Bible says, to love our enemies or to love our neighbor. We have to love. This is the thing that I'd like to say to Neale in the next meeting. But I say to you now, we have to choose love in every situation. That the love that we think, the love of our understanding. That is the same thing to say the God of our understanding, because the end God is love. So I prefer love to God, because God has many representation, like a man, like in the past, and for many people, also, even today. But I even when I was a little child, I never was able to believe to this kind of a God. But when we talk about love, I can understand. I can understand what we are talking. So when we say that, for example, in the Bible there is I have finished. But in the Bible, I remind that I'm not a religious person. But when I was a child, was taught to me these commandments. A person asked to Jesus, what is the most important of commandments, of all the things that we have to do? What is the one, the most important? And Jesus say, love your God with all your energy, I think in English. So Jesus was say, love with all your. This is, I don't know why the church never said this, but is a very simple message. Love. We have to choose what we love. This is the meaning of the chapter for me.
Very good.
But by the
Romy?
way, Mirko, I very much like the picture. I just like the picture. At the moment you talked about your God, whatever. The picture of the father of the old God or the father God sitting on a huge cloud or on a whatever. And I think if this cloud is just moving or flying over whatever, it's just a nice picture, and it's just for fun. It's a nice picture, but not more. Yeah.
But the thing is that for me, at that time when was founded this idea of God, probably we were not so evolved. It was a symbol, but today we, for me, for my understanding and for my evolution, is not more valid, this idea, because now and I have experienced, like I said in the past meeting, I have experienced this feeling of oneness many years ago with this ex-girlfriend. And in that moment, I don't know you, but in that moment, all the things that I was thinking before in my life collapsed because I had a moment, or I think it's a mystical moment, I don't know, a realization, seeing this person, this girl, I inside of my, and after this episode in another other circumstance, I was realizing that she was me. And I was thinking, but who am I? So today we have persons like, I think like Neale, that ask this question very well. We are spiritual beings, etc. And Neale, in the last meeting, said that there is another person that he admires, that I don't know, but I have made some search in the internet in these days, that is Thich Nhat Hanh, is a teacher, spiritual teacher, etc., famous. And for coincidence, after that we have talked about fighting, life is a fighting, that I don't agree. I have found that the last one of the last book that this famous spiritual teacher wrote is entitled How to Fight. And in Italian, I don't read the book, but I like the title because in Italian, many times the book are translated in another meeting, totally another meeting to sell the book. But this time in Italian was translated How to Fight Consciously. And I like this because I can imagine what the author want to say, that because his life is about fighting for peace. Is the irony is, and I like to fight for love. This I don't read the book. Probably this is the message, I think. But if we think that we are fighting, if we have to think that life is fighting, like many people think and experience, I like to think that I am fighting for love, for the love. There is the book, The God Solution of Neale is clear about love, and I like this. That is love, pure love. He say that is without needing anything in return. It's very difficult to, I think, in the day-to-day life, to love without needing. For example, in a romantic relationship, I don't know who does these kind of things. Love without needing. I don't see this. I have never seen in my life, but I have tried. I tried. I will try again. I don't know. But
Anybody else?
I like this because dogs, for example, dogs do this. Dogs. I have many dogs, and they love you without needing anything. I think people are a lower level than dogs in this, probably.
Yeah, okay, but I just want to go back something what you talked about, Mirko. It doesn't go for me. I think I can act in love. I don't like the combination fight with love or fight. It doesn't go with me. And consciousness going to, I think we all have to go through demanding times. And the question is how we act inside this. and not we react. And I think the word fight is just, it's just, I don't want to use it.
No,
I also have
fight
my,
is not.
but I get it. It's not difficult, but it's the same where there is another saying for non-violent communication. I think it's a very good one, but the word non-violent, I always think it's just why we put the violence in. I just once had a talk as I was studying non-violent communication with people, and they said because it's so common, they cannot change it. But yeah, I think I think it's too
Peaceful, kind.
I agree that the fight is.
I think even to say to have conscious. I have a problem with the pronunciation of consciousness, or conscious communication would also be a good one instead of non-violent communication, because I don't think I have to carry something with I don't like, or I don't.
Let Mary say something here.
I agree with, the energy of the words fight. It's like struggle. It carries negative vibration. And like people on Facebook all the time, there's these prayer warriors, pray for so-and-so. I'm like, I am not a prayer warrior. I'm not, I'm not a love warrior. I'm a love lovier. That's is sort of just to be the love energy, which is what we all are. I mean, here we go. If God is love, I think we agree on that in this room. I mean, I don't know, maybe I'm wrong, but like, I think God is love. That's my experience. And if we're all made from the same stuff as God, because how can we be anything else? Everything comes from God, therefore, so we are all love. That is the life energy to me. Those words are synonymous. Life, love, God. They all are the same, except God is a very loaded word, kind of like fighting and struggling for a lot of people. Like, I'm what we call a recovering Catholic, there's a lot of things in that religion that I did not resonate with. And when I laughed before I was muted when you were talking, Mirko, it's because I remembered when I was about 12 or 13 in catechism class, we accidentally made our poor teacher cry. She was a very young woman. We were like 12 or 13. We had questions we were asking, and she didn't know how to deal with them. And, I felt bad that she cried, but it's like that thing where when you're in a very tight box and people are out here going, but, anyway, love. I definitely am more of a love person than a fight person or a struggle person. And struggle, I think it's that thing where we're attached to outcomes and we have that negative reaction of, I don't want to accept this thing or whatever. And that can take some learning. It all takes learning, or not always. Bima just was like this from birth and stayed that way. I think we're all born that way. I look at my little nieces and nephews and they're like little love balls, and people get socialized out of it. So really what this is the work of remembering who we are, and that's love, and how to express that in the purest manner. That's what I think.
Yes, I agree with all of this. And I want to say that I too, in English, I don't like the word fight, because and this is the very point that I say to Neale, that I don't like this. I was surprised by this author saying this. So cancel the word fight. But I was only say that this famous other spiritual teacher wrote incredibly, or for coincidence, but there are no coincidences in the universe, wrote this book, How to Fight. And probably is a provocation, I think. But the thing that I want to add to your, Mary, to your intervention is in the book, there is a soul knowing that say mastery is when the challenges becomes greater, but the struggle disappears. So I think that the only way to do mastery is love. And this is because the chapter begins saying that when you reach completion, the line move forward. So, for example, I think you also have experience in my life that, for example, you arrive in a romantic relationship or in work. You arrive at the point and you say, okay, I am at the highest level of this relationship. I am totally happy, but 50 minutes later, something happens and you are not so so arrived as you was thinking. This is because you have to love more. You are increasing your mastery, in my point of view. So in my life, I have had, for example, this one and other broken relationship. But today I am more, probably more conscious, like Romy said, or more compassion. I am more than then. And this is the important thing. Not that I get the girl, but I am more love. I feel this because even when I have recently, I have some experience like someone that is suddenly in a relation, suddenly ignore me. Probably in the past I can get anger or for something like this. Today I am very patient, and just yesterday, this person incredibly wrote me a very important message, and I was thinking, patient was the right patient. That is a form of love. Like Neale say, love is the answer. So I answered with love, and I received this message of love.
Thank you.
It's not a coincidence. I was very patient in these weeks.
Right. Thank you. Ariana, did you want to say something else?
Oh, I don't know. I was thinking this about love. Yes, I think that love is all and love is important, and that we have to love the God with all forces, love our who are near around us, as we love ourselves. But if we don't love ourselves, we can't love another people. I think that this is maybe difficult to love ourselves, to accept all ourselves, to feel self-compassion, like is writing is in one book, to fall in love in ourselves. And I think this is very important, because if we don't love ourselves, we can't love anybody around us.
Yeah, not truly.
No, it's not true.
Bingo.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
And you have
Yes,
to-
only love.
Romy, did you want to say something? You're on mute. You can.
I just feel that we have to, like, not the traditional way, we have to turn it around. The more I'm conscious with myself, the more possible it is to have loving and kind relationships, and not to, I think the other way is what you, Mirko, also talked about, the way people going to connect with other people on different level, also in love and whatever, because they need something. And I think if I'm in the position of need and then going to connect with something, that's difficult, that something good come out of it. Yeah, can come out of it.
I agree. Go ahead, Mary.
I think that what Ariana said is very important, because think about it for a minute. If we haven't learned to accept ourselves wholeheartedly, all of us, even the ugly bits. How are we going to do that in a relationship with another person? And I think that that's a lot of what the trouble is in relationships with other people, is if we have not yet learned to fully embrace and love ourselves wholeheartedly, 100%, even when we're a freaking mess. And, you know, accept it. That is part of being human, right? None of us is always wearing our perfect face. And if we go into relationships where we're still shoving our stuff over here in the basement, and other people are also not looking their stuff in the face, it's like I have a friend who wrote this book, and it's like this monster in the basement that just keeps growing, you know, our icky stuff and their icky parts that we aren't willing to deal with on our own, let alone face another person and say, I love you, the totality of you. So I think that's very important.
Yeah, thank you.
I have a
Dina,
comment on
go
yeah,
ahead.
Yeah, just shortly that I realized that the source or the God or whatever we call that divine source, the creator, love this energy, the one that is me, as much as everything. I am loved by that source. And if I open to that and take that, then I can love, then I am love, and I can love others because this source is love. And I am connected, we are one. I mean, I wouldn't be alive, this body wouldn't exist if that source wouldn't be there and has created the whole universe. So I can feel sometimes when I look at the stars and all these points, light points, it feels like the cells in my body, they are connected. And so when I realized that no matter what's happening with this person that is me, or call me or whatever, the love is as much to me as to the whole creation. And if I open my heart to that and receive that love, I can be that love and give it. So that's my reflection of it. I love that chapter of the book. It was
Thank
really
you.
good. Thank you.
No, thank you. And Linda, did you want to jump in here?
My only comment is what Ariana was saying is absolutely right, and what Mary was reinforcing, right? There isn't anything for each of us. There isn't anything except us. Everything else is a projection or a hologram or something, right? So that love has to start with us individually. You can't love somebody else if you don't love yourself first. And it's a really fundamental teaching, and it's really missing from most people's toolboxes.
I think that's really important. And you actually triggered something in me when you said that, because I totally agree with what you're saying. I have to say, I get frustrated. I don't know how it is in Europe, but there's a lot of struggle here in the US. And it's a very divisive group. And I just tell myself, don't get pulled in. Don't respond, because people are saying some fairly ugly things. And the best way for me, maybe not for anybody else, but for me, I just flat out don't respond. And I think I am not giving my energy to that conversation. Now, if I'm approached with somebody who has an idea that's contrary to mine, but they come to me in a loving way, then I'm more apt to be part of a conversation with that person. But I don't know right now in the US, it's very hard. I still love everybody. I get frustrated though. because of some of the things that are going on in our country, and it's sad.
But Nanette, as far as I know, there are also a lot of resistance movement going on in Switzerland, in Germany, and I don't know, and on so many places. I just see it, and yeah, that's it. But I observe it. That's it. But yeah, it's also going on. Mhm.
Yep. And it's so funny. And most of you have been on my Facebook page. If somebody comes on my Facebook page and starts spewing any kind of hate, I just delete. You know, I don't want that energy on my page. That's not the energy I project.
Mhm.
And I really try, even in the most difficult times, to project. Like, I'll shut up and I'll say things like, I love you, 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 to myself. But I'm saying it to this other person. I'm throwing love energy at them without having to get into an argumentative conversation. But
Mhm.
anyway, anybody else have any thoughts? Because
I want to,
we're not going to be able to read anymore today. Mirko, are you going to say something?
Nanette, I want only to suggest the same suggestion that Neale gave to me is 2 days ago. And he says to me, when I am in this kind of situation, I ask myself this question. What does this has to do with the agenda of my soul? That is a wonderful question that I began to ask myself from the last month when I discovered it. That is a way to say, what do I intend to do with that? I like this because this is the only power that we have. That is the power to choose how to respond to. Even in the US, you have this situation. But I think the book that I was talking to you, The Essential Path, is about this idea that Neale called alienation. He used this word. I agree. There is many energy of alienation, of separation, because for the simple reason that for me, many people don't know or don't understand that we are not physical entities. If you think that you are a physical entity, you can only think on the idea of separation, that you are better than me or I am better than you. We will never find a solution. The only solution is to come to a realization like I had for my luck, because I wasn't searching for this. I was like all the other people. There probably was a miracle, a little miracle, I don't know. But we can't, for me, arrive at this with intellectual meaning. The only way is to, like teachers like Neale are doing, to imitate whose we admire. So, for example, I admire in English, admire Neale, for example, and by imitating him and demonstrating in my way, in my humble way, not in the same way. For example, I'm not a writer. I'm not writing a book to sell millions of copies. It's not my purpose in my life. But if you observe, for example, Neale in the meetings, also you, Nanette, in your way, but Neale is more famous, and but he's very humble, he's very kind, he's very willing to discuss, even if he doesn't need to. How many people does and give you his time to discuss? Not many people. Even
Now,
my father is not very willing to talk with me about anything because no one has time. Anybody has time, they say. But life is not a fighting. This is what I want to say to conclude. Life is not a fighting, is a choice. This is the right word. Life is a choice. I like this.
yes, I agree. And one of the things that I'm sure you probably witnessed being in a class with Neale, I used to work very closely with Neale to the point where he was calling me every day, and it
You,
in
you
fact,
know very well. You know
and
him
yeah,
very well.
I know him very well. And he, in fact, I first worked with Neale before I became a part of Humanities Team. And people would laugh because my cell phone would ring. And I'd see that it was Neale that was calling, and I'd say, I'm not getting it. and they'd say, well, what's the matter? I said, I got to be ready, because he thinks out loud so fast that it's exhausting. And I'm sure we all do this sometimes, but it's so funny because whoever was with me one time when I did this said, oh my God, could you just hand the phone to me? I said, no, he would not be happy with that, but he is a wonderful man, and he's got a wonderful sense of humor. He is a very funny guy in his own right. And he likes to play tricks on people. And when Humanities Team's Global Council meeting was in Portugal one year, he and his wife Em came. And when the event was over, it was about a 7-day gathering with Neale, and we all had a chance to talk. But when we were leaving, we were in the taxi, and Neale said to the taxi driver, he said, you don't need to hurry on my account, I'm dying. And the guy that was driving was like, I didn't know what to say. And so he said, I'm kidding. And then we found out that Neale was on the same flight as I was, and Steve, who's the director of Humanities Team, and Dee, who's the head of operations. We were all on the same flight. We also had this other friend that was from Colorado. And Neale wasn't showing up, or not Neale, Steve was not showing up, and I thought he's going to miss this flight. And I was really starting to get panicked. And Neale was traveling in first class, and I wasn't. And there was this velvet rope between us. And I said, Neale, I need to talk to you. And I said, where's Steve? He's going to miss this flight. And he said, oh, Neale took an earlier, or not Neale, Steve took an earlier flight. And I was supposed to tell you, and I forgot. And I said, what? And he said, yeah, he and Kathy. And I thought, now this is really weird. And so I walked away, and I was like pacing. And we were already, I mean, we hadn't been called yet, but people were being called to get on the flight. And just before Neale got on the flight, Em and he both came over to me and said, Neale's just messing with you. I said, well, I bought it, hook, line, and sinker. So he's a very, very funny man. And there's so much I love about him. I could go on for 2 days about that. But given the fact that it's 1:02, and I know that Linda has to go if she hasn't already. Mary, would you like to meditate us out or thought us out?
Sure. So I'm thinking about the big all in all, which we called love, life, love earlier in this meeting. Some people call it God. And I'm also thinking about how Mirko brought up something from the Bible from Jesus earlier, and what I didn't say at that time was Jesus was really a prophet of love, that's there to an extent, but I think that it was there more in real life than what made it into the Bible. And so people have that thing they say sometimes, what would Jesus do? And I modified it a while back to what would love do, And I think as we go through our week, here we are in this lovely group of heartful, loving energy. And as we go through our week, if we think about, the soul's agenda question is a great question. And another great question to bring to our moments is, what would love do? How can I best in this situation? Whatever situations we encounter, sometimes it's so easy to be love when we see whatever the thing is that brings our heart gladness, trees, flowers, puppies, babies. Other times it might be more challenging to be love when we see things that displease us in some way. And a good thing to remember is that we just are love, right? We are love. At the base of it, we're the energy that makes up the whole universe. We're the energy of God, and that is that love energy. And if we remember as best we can to bring that energy with us wherever we go and into all the situations, including and especially the challenging ones, that could change our life and the lives of all we touch. And that can ripple out. And I believe that can change the world. And that is perhaps part of what we're here to do at this moment, these very challenging moments for the planet and the people on it. The more of us who can just bring our open heart energy into the mix, the more lovely the things that we touch can be made. Thank you all.
Thank you. And
you.
I want to say something real quick. Do mark your calendars. March 17th, or not March, October 17th through the 24th is the Global Oneness Summit. Neale, among so many other people, are going to be present. And I have had the honor of proofing all these pre-recorded panels. And it's been an amazing ride because I have learned so much. Of just other people's thoughts and opinions and everything from holograms to string theory. It's been an amazing, it's been a privilege is what it's been. So anyway, mark your calendars, and when I will get you all times and dates when that is going to take place. So I love you all. And we'll see each other next time. Okay, bye-bye.
Bye bye.
Great time. Thanks.
Bye-bye.
Bye.